Hi everyone, Stacy Whiter here on behalf of Campus Mortgage with some quick tips on the Fannie Mae 10.0 release update that came out over the weekend of December 10th. Now just a couple of quick things here before we get started. As a reminder, this video is for informational purposes only and should not be considered legal advice or used in place of the Fannie Mae guidelines. On September 24th, Fannie Mae released DU version 10.0. But then over the weekend of December 10th, they released an update with some additional items to DU version 10.0. So let's take a look at some of these items. The first one that we're going to talk about is the DU validation service. Next is updates to the property inspection waiver. Then we'll talk about property value representations and warranties, home ready enhancements, and then updates that they made to align with their selling guide. So let's talk about the DU validation service first. So in this update, they announced the implementation of their DU validation service. And through this service, DU will be able to receive copies of reports on borrowers' income, assets, and employment validations from third-party vendors. So let's take a look at the vendors and the data which will be validated. First, let's talk about the income. The income will be validated through the work number from Equifax for base, bonus, overtime, and commission income less than 25%. For commission income over 25% and retirement and SSI and self-employed income, that will be validated through the Equifax 4506T tax transcript service. For assets, that will be validated through account check for various checking, savings, money market, CD, stocks, mutual funds accounts. And then finally, for employment, that will be validated through the work number from Equifax. DU will then outline if there's any additional documentation that is required. Next, let's talk about updates to the property inspection waiver. So the updates for the property inspection waiver are now going to be eligible for refinances only. So you will no longer be able to use property inspection waivers on purchases. And for refinances, it's going to be limited to the limited cash out refinances, 90% LTV max for primary and secondary, 75% max for investment. And for cash out refinances, you'll be maxed at 70% for primary and secondary properties and 60% for investment properties. Another good point about this is that the PIW, the property inspection waiver, will now be available to all DU lenders. Previously, it was just available to certain lenders. Now it's available to all. Next, let's move on to property value representation and warranties. Now for this update, it is not the same as the property inspection waiver. The property inspection waiver gave relief from reps and warranties on property value, condition, and marketability. Instead, what this does, this gives relief from reps and warrants when the collateral underwriter score of 2.5 or lower is included in the file. It receives an approve eligible decision from DU, and it's a 1-unit attached or detached condo. Now let's talk about the home ready enhancements. For this update, there will be increased LTV ratios. They will go from 95% to 97% LTV for limited cash out Fannie Mae owned property, so it must be a Fannie Mae to Fannie Mae refi. Also, the removal of not allowing ownership for other residential property. So borrowers will be eligible for home ready enhancements with certain specifications, even if they have other residential property that they own. Next is that refinances will no longer require homeownership education, and one-on-one counseling for borrowers will now be a new compensating factor for those that have higher debt-to-income ratios. And finally, we'll finish up with updates to align with the selling guides. Now, there were several updates that they put in here. The first one is the retirement of the excessive value message. Another update is the new and updated lender and seller contribution messages. So these will be more like message reminders, and there will be 3 different ones. The first one will be if the seller credit exceeds the closing cost, the prepaids, discount points, you will get a message for that. The next would be if the lender credit exceeds closing costs, prepaids, and discount points as well. And the third message would be a combined of the 2. Finally, there will be an update to the homeownership education message, which in this case is just a reminder that if none of the borrowers on the Home Ready loan have a credit score, then homeownership education will be required. So that was the overview of the DU 10.0 release updates that came out over the weekend of December 10th. Now, just a quick reminder that all of these resources are available to you on the Fannie Mae website. So I highly encourage you to check out Fannie Mae, go to the website, and look under release notes where you'll be able to quickly access some important information. Here's the update that we just covered. You can also see all of the information on the full update that came out on September 24th, and then some other additional resources. One very important on the trended credit data, which was a big part of the update. Well, that's all for now. Thanks so much for watching. For more tips and videos, please visit campusmortgage.org and look for our weekly mortgage tips videos designed for all mortgage professionals, including underwriters, processors, loan officers, closers, and post-closers. Have a fantastic day, and we'll see you next time.